Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trendy Trading. Let's go ahead and get started with our broad market analysis. We're going to start here with the SPYs and just kind of give you a little bit of hindsight, what's happened, what's developed so far, and what I'm looking for going into this week. Now, it is very important towards the end of this. We will talk about my overall sentiment, and I get a lot of that just by looking at the current structures of the candles. Looking at these ETFs, wanting to know, hey, are we coming into an area of resistance, of supply where we run out of buyers, and do we need to find new buyers in order to continue this rally to the upside? All right, are we overextended? What's the skew telling us? What's the P call telling us? What's the dollar telling us? I'm going to put all that together and give you this really nice broad market analysis to help you be prepared for this week. Notice that the SPY, we have the weekly chart on your left-hand side, and over here on the right-hand side, I am looking at the daily. You're going to notice some edges here. What's very important to understand about trendy trading are these edges are there before price gets there. So everything we do, we're forecasting. All right, and I've come up with this awesome process that gives higher probabilities for us to touch those levels. Those levels help identify a playing field within supply and demand. And the nice thing about it is the scripts are able to identify those, place them on my screen, and I don't need to go back several different time frames and figure out where these high probability levels are. So this makes it very convenient for me, very quick. I can pull scans and stuff like that. And so this should be very straightforward. I have a neutral strategy that we'll be looking at. And again, it's very straightforward. If it breaks over the top neutral, I'm looking to go long into the upper levels. And just understand that each upper level, especially right now as we approach these, are resistance until proven otherwise. If we break down below the red this week, if we break down below the red, I am looking for buyers to step in. If you don't like shorting, just sit back and relax and wait for that next buying opportunity. And I'll talk about that, okay? All right, so if we break over the green here, I will be looking for 457, 462, 466. From an high in sight perspective, notice that price came down into the edge. This is where we got long. Basically, we were net long in the portfolio, looking for prices to move up towards trendy edges to the upside. Once we crossed above the decelerator, that's this little red arrow here, we then turned our attention to the ACDC. ACDC equals ME. All that's saying is accelerator, decelerator equals the ME. And this probability is very high. It works very well, but timing is the variable. Matter of fact, I was looking for the 452, I believe, on last Wednesday or Tuesday. I think it was Wednesday. It was a 0 DTE day. It didn't work out. That was okay. And as you can see, right towards the end of Friday, we came up and tapped it. So my job is complete, right? I don't have to do anything. What I said would happen, happened, right? I'm just kind of kidding. But it is very important to understand when we get to this area again, which is fear, down here, we really pay attention, right? Because I remember coming back here and saying, listen, as long as we don't take out this high, we continue, or sorry, this low, we continue higher. And then once we got to the bottom of the cloud, I coached, hey, as long as we can break into the cloud and hold the cloud, that then becomes your support, and we work our way up, okay? So what kind of structure do we have going on? I kind of, was joking around, about 2 weeks ago, I said, hey, it looks like we're going to create the 3 white soldiers to the upside. So basically 3 consecutive days back here. And we did that very nicely. And then it turned into 4 days. And then it was an inside candle where a lot of traders started to feel fearful. But I said, as long as we're holding the daily cloud, we can continue up. And that's what we did. And we were able to identify on a 4-hour chart just how important the 4-hour is, because it told me, and it told me to tell you not to have any fear on these pullbacks, because the cloud continued to hold very, very, very well. And here we are right here at the ME this week. And you can see we actually started getting a buy signal here before the close, obviously, but right into resistance. So the SPY Is it important that we continue to move here? You know, not as important as the DIA and the IWM, and I'll get there in a minute. I feel like the SPY might have really was the canary in the coal mine, per se, right? Well, or it was the leader to show you what the others may do this week. So the overall idea going into this week is that maybe the SPY needs to cool down a little bit and let the rest catch up, or maybe it continues to be a leader. What I will tell you is on the bigger picture, see these topping wicks. Again, if you don't know anything about topping wicks, please go and watch my video there on YouTube. Okay, topping wicks basically in this area is telling us that there is a lot of selling pressure. And for some reason, they're defending this line big time. So just know that that level is very important going into this week. And you'll notice here that is our first target. So be careful around there. We don't have to hit 457.21, right? In order for us, just don't be greedy is what I'm saying. As we get closer to that level, be cautious, pull those stops up and so forth. If we open up into that level, take caution. All right, and I'll coach you obviously as we open up into resistance. We'll look for key, factors in movement before we do anything. All right, so patience. If we open up here towards the 457 level, if we open up in the neutral, don't diddle in the middle, just leave it alone. And if we break below the red, then I could look to go short. But I feel like we're in this right now, the trend where if we pull back, it's a buying opportunity. So until that changes, until these banners up here change to yellow, I want to continue thinking about buying the dip. Okay. All right. So that's SPY. Let's go ahead and break into the QQQ. And this really is, at the end of the day, the story is a little bit different. All right. So although the 4-hour again was the go-to on this move up, the AC/DC was important. We haven't quite hit the ME yet, but bigger picture you could see here on the Qs is that we are just trying to break the cloud. And just because the SPY breaks the cloud doesn't mean the Qs have to. All right. But the AC/DC is a very high probability play out. So if we could break above the AC/DC, again, or above the cloud, sorry, then we will hit this 364.24 on the charts of QQQ. All right. Your support going into this week is going to be that trendy edge, which is in the middle of the cloud. All right. And it's that blue dotted line here. So it's at or around 352. That's your support. All right. Let's go ahead and go into DIA and IWM. This one will be really quick. DIA, we did not change the blueprints for this week. And the reason why is because you could see price has not broken. Well, it's just getting started. It just started to break over the neutral. And this is a good chance for you to take a look at how important these levels are. We broke above the cloud. We broke above the neutral, but we did not hit T1. So it's very important for me to be transparent with you. If you took this trade on the break, you didn't quite get that 349. And that's what I mean. Is sometimes things just don't move as fast as you want them to, and timing is the variable. So what do you do in this case? You just raise your stops. You could see here it's not as strong as the rest. But again, I said something about DIA and IWM. Into this week, they may be the ones that run while the SPY and the Qs kind of calm down. Again, I'm not going to hold that thesis because it could be completely different. Maybe DIA and IWM come back into neutral and the SPYs continue to rip. But we have a strategy for that, and we'll coach in the morning, okay? So we're going to keep this blueprint. We're going to stay long above 347.66 as long as the weekly is staying above the cloud, and we're looking for these targets to the upside. I do see this nice gap to fill, which happens to be the yearly edge, which is this blue line at 359. Ultimately, this week, looking for 354 as long as the neutral holds. And longer term, looks like we're headed for the gap fill at around 359. I do think that Dow Jones this week is something to look at. So we will be concentrating on charts there in the Dow. All right. Next one, let's go ahead and look at IWM. All right, so IWM, same thing. I did not change the chart. Sometimes it happens like this. I told you last week that IWM already played out the ACDC. All right. So everything else, SPYs, Qs, DIA, have not played out the ACDC, but these guys had already did their move. All right. So this sector here is still on a sideways watch. If anything, I like selling credit with this. Probably put credit spreads because I think we just kind of move up a tad, but then sideways. I'm not bullish on this name until we could break over the cloud. In this case, that's not until over 212. So although the neutral here is at 209, I'm not really as bullish as I want to be until we could see that the weekly holds over the cloud. Again, when in the cloud, expect chop to down sideways movements, iron condors, put credit spreads, call credit spreads, stuff like that. All right. All right. The next thing that we're going to look at is, give me 1 second here. Yeah, we're going to look at the dollar really quickly. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull up Trading View and pull this over for you guys. All right, so here's your skew. Let's get to that here in a second. Here's your dollar. All right. So as I said before, as price is pushing up into supply, I was looking for the market to start pushing up. And you could see as we got closer, the market continued to rip. And now we're making lower highs. So if we start to fade in the dollar, I think we can continue up in the market. If the dollar starts to push over this high, and I've already have an alert here, so make sure you're still scanning the alerts there in the trendy room. And so on your auto alerts, if this comes through that we are crossing the 99.263 area, just be careful, as I feel like the market is probably pulling back at the same time, or at least chopping. And I don't want you to speculate while we're chopping. That just leads to losing profits. So let's concentrate here if we get that alert. Overall on the skew, very important here. This is your hedge funds. This is their overall sentiment of a possible 2 standard deviation. If you were to put the SPY in the background, you would see that when we came into the risk on level, again, right here at around 130, we started looking at going long, but other things had to basically synergistically come together. So when I showed you the SPY coming into the lower edge, the Qs were coming into the lower edge, that made us feel more confident that the skew was indeed in the right area. Now notice that as we push up and the skew numbers get higher, they are actually moving towards this risk off. For anybody that's new, it's kind of confusing if you're new to trading. Risk on means that you want to have your money going to the call side, all right, or long side. Risk off means if you're long, you might want to be careful here. So I'm deeming this as a yellow flag kind of week. All right. So if I were your lifeguard and you're at the beach, I'm just telling you, if you're going to go out into the seas, you probably need some kind of flotation device. That free swimming is probably not a good idea right now. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of things we'll look at. It's possible that we can still get a small move up, but I do think that we are into resistance. We want to be careful. We'll look for key numbers before we get long. Again, just a yellow flag sort of sentiment doesn't mean we can't continue up though, okay? P-call, don't really need to show it, but what I'm telling you is that a lot of traders are getting more comfortable. They're starting to buy more calls than they are puts. And because of that, you also want to start to be careful. So, in summary, looking at the SPY, Qs, DIA, and IWM, we basically are closing, again, this week close to resistance, but there's a lot of hope here that we can get over those levels and continue to push up. If we continue to push up, obviously we'll be on the right side of the trade. I love Trendy Trading. I love the methodology we use here because we have something for everybody, right? So even if the market starts to pull back a little bit, we have PMZs, right? Pre-market zones that we're going to use, right? If for some reason we're coming back into a daily edge, we're looking at buys there. If for some reason we're pushing into edges, then we want to be careful. As I was saying, let's go ahead and have a summary. SPY on Trading View, very important. This is the bigger picture for you. This is a weekly. Again, we broke above the cloud. Hooray for the Bulls, right? But we close on the week right here at the edge. Is there a possibility that we could get these 3 soldiers here, right? To look something like this. Remember, these candles are red. We haven't even momentum has not changed yet. All right. I love that. Momentum has not changed yet. I mean, we haven't even went from, like a red to white or red to green. And if we do, things look really good to the upside here. Pretty incredible, actually. Always, when I'm moving to the upside, I'm looking left to see what can stop us. And then I'm coaching you on that and teaching you what to look for. The only thing that I see this week, besides the golden Fibonacci, the 618, and I'll try to get it as close as I can. Basically, I want the top and I want the bottom of this wick here, just like that, is at around this resistance level where we close. Now, notice last 2 times that we came into this area that we've had a hard time. So this is very, very important that we can get over this level this week. All right. Again, we'll be trading it most likely from an intraday perspective this week. All right. Instead of me getting, putting on too many positions to the long side with too much time. All right. So again, that is what I see most important. But when I look up and to the left, there's really nothing to stop us. Remember where all the selling came from, right? Inflation, which is still there, by the way. Inflation, war. I mean, there's just all kinds of things. Oil spiking, all that stuff. And so this is called fear, right? Fear drove us down. And now, possibly, a little bit of exuberance. All right, it's pushing us up. So we are coming into this area. Let's go ahead and look at Qs real quick. You can see here, this inside and up worked very well. I understand that the box was very big, but once we reclaimed, we pushed up very nicely. And again, right underneath the cloud, you can see here that we need to break above the cloud. And just like the SPY, looks like we could run. I mean, at least up towards 378 and possibly into 395 again. But this is an area of concern as we've not broken over the cloud. On the DIA, again, a different look, a little bit cleaner. And I have notes if you guys want to read that. We have moved from the green box to the red box. We didn't have much movement. It is a continuation candle. We are above the cloud. And the supply is really up here towards the yearly edge, coming in around 359 to 364. So this, again, is on my radar to watch, but it is into some supply. It's not the first time we came into a little bit of this supply. So as long as we hold above the red box, then the DIA or the Dow can continue to move up. Let's go ahead and look at IWM. Again, not much of movement. Matter of fact, I was shocked. I opened this up and I'm like, man, things really did not change that much. But this is an inside week and I love inside. So if we start to go inside and up, this could be an explosive move for your small caps. All right. So I think everything looks pretty decent. The only thing that's keeping me from being super bullish, obviously, is that we've been on this long move to the upside for quite some time now. 2 weeks, which is a long time considering what's happened in the past. But it doesn't mean that we can't continue moving up. Again, we'll be using all of our tools to help us be on the right side of the trade this week. My biggest thing that I want to concentrate is not having too many positions open and more or less keeping an open mind that we can move up. If we move down, looking for a buying opportunity and not getting too impatient and buying too many long positions when there is a possibility that we could just chop this week. Okay, so in summary, I'm bullish, buying the dip if we get the opportunity. But I don't want to get too exuberant with too many positions. Remember, we don't need that many positions. Matter of fact, I did this really nice thing where I gave you concentration on 2 names in the last 2 weeks that I could have literally paid, right? Paid you, could have made a year's worth of salary just by trading Apple and or Tesla, depending on your allocation, of course. All right. But those 2 names, they worked out so well. And if you just followed the charts listened to my videos, then they would have helped you at least navigate those names much more consistently. All right. I appreciate all of you all being here. And I just want to end this by saying every day I wake up because of you. I get in here, I jump on the mic, I do all these things so that you are able to learn quickly what it took me a long time to learn. I really appreciate when you all contribute, whether it is just liking the information that I put in here. That's our way. I know that some of us, I'm older. Okay, I'm older, and I get that, like, some of us, you don't use social media that much, but I want you to understand also that your likes help me. So if you go out on YouTube and you like that content, not only does it let me know what I'm doing here for you is worth the time and that you appreciate it, it also helps me to monetize, right, on YouTube. So please watch those videos, like those videos, tell your friends about the videos, ask them to take a look. I feel very confident what we do here at Trendy Trading is very transparent. We teach a methodology that works. It's not for everybody, but it just takes a little bit of time to really zero in on what we're doing here. And you start to put it all together, and it really starts to make a lot of sense. And I feel very confident it's better than 98% of trading services out there. Okay. It's simple. There's no news. There's just lines that identify supply and demand. We have a methodology for 5-minute traders all the way up into swing traders. And I hope that you're getting something from this. In the room, please participate. If you can, say something, like the updates. Let me know that you're watching the updates. On the chill chat side, if we are, if I'm trying to get something going here, so we can have more of that personal feel in the community. So please, share some screen, some pics of what you've done over the week. I would love to know who you guys are. A lot of you I do know. There's a lot of you I don't know. So please share. Let me know what's going on in your life. Share your journals. In saying that, I will ask you to please try to keep more personal stuff out of the main chat. Okay, that's what chill chat is for. All right, so personal stuff, it's just not meant for there. News is not really meant for there. You can update us if you want. It's not a big deal, but just understand Trendy's not about news. It's about levels, and it's about execution and trying your best to hold on to your capital, right? Preservation of your funds. Anyways, I love you guys. Appreciate you being here. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. We're going out on the water here shortly. Wish you could be here with us. And if you are coming into town, obviously, send me a message. I would love to meet up. Have a great day.